India and Maldives have many things in common. Culture and both countries are connected in many ways, especially via people to people relationship. With me is the Maldivian Foreign Minister to talk about this relationship. So, welcome to Beyond. Great to have you here in Delhi. And let me start by one question. The question is that how do you see India-Maldives relationship, and what were the key focus of the talks today with the Indian External Affairs Minister?
Thank you very much for having me. India being geographically the closest country to Maldives with very historical relations of people-to-people connection. I think, and again, India also been a development partner in the Maldives. If you look at historically, Maldives has rapidly grown. Maldives has rapidly grown from a least developed nation into a developed nation, and India played a catalytical role in having this achievement. Today, my meeting with the External Affairs Minister, actually, we had a very good meeting where we were able to discuss and focus on what are our priorities, and also look back at what has happened and what we could do better, and where we could work new, and then what are the new challenges that we have. So that's basically how my meeting with the minister was.
When it comes to tourism, that has been one of the pillar of the relationship, but we have seen the number of Indian tourists traveling to Maldives now getting reduced because of what we know happened in the past. What's your take when it comes to Indian tourists traveling to Maldives?
India obviously is one of the very key source markets for the Maldivian tourism. If you look at the statistics earlier this year, we have in Maldives, inward tourism has had a growth of about 16%, but the Indian tourism market, the source market, has actually tremendously decreased, obviously with some issues that we have had. I don't think it's an issue with the government, because you could recall there was some remarks which was derogatory in nature towards the leadership of India, and then I think I have issued a statement, and it was not the view of the government, and it definitely is not the president or the people of Maldives views Indian leadership or Indians as such. So we have issued statements, and we believe the message was received well, and obviously it's the social media which has actually led it, and then unfortunately, if you really look at, there isn't much we could do, but definitely it's going to improve with my visit, and also the future collaborations that we are going to have in the, which we have discussed earlier today. So again, Indian markets, like my tourism minister, our tourism minister has earlier said, Indian source market is very important for us, and then we will continue to work on that.
Were there any discussion on debt relief today when it comes to conversation with the EM?
I think, like I have said, if you look at the macroeconomic balances in the Maldives, when we came into the government, obviously any country which we owe money, we needed to discuss that. And that was part of our discussion, yes. But again, you would see the previous government has actually taken debt from, I think it was 60 billion rupiah when they came in 2018, and now when they left, it was about 120 billion rupiah. So obviously, a big part of that is in India. So we had to discuss that as well.
Shifting to other questions, the government in Maldives is seen pro-China, not very pro-India. Would you reaffirm your India first policy, or how do you see it as?
The current government is a pro-Maldives government. So we have good relations with all development partners, all bilateral allies. We have a good relation with India as well as China. China has been a development partner with Maldives, to Maldives in the past decade or so, if you have seen, there have been a lot of involvement in China being a country with an economy which is growing rapidly. Their investments and their collaborations with their partners has seen the world has seen this happen. So I think we are also part of those countries where China has been actively engaged in developing and then bringing projects and bringing finances which they were investing abroad.
There have been visits of the Chinese vessels as well, research vessels, spy vessels, term can be used differently. But India, of course, will be worried when it comes to the Chinese presence in its neighborhood. Have you given reassurances to India? We saw the EM mentioning the mutual reciprocity when it comes to sensitivity. So what do you make of the visits?
Well, actually, the vessel in question, in January 2024, we received a request for diplomatic clearance of a vessel for peaceful purposes for port call. And we issued as they requested, like we have been issuing many others. I think early March, you would have seen there was a US destroyer which came to Maldives. And after that, there was one from Turkey. And so this is one of those processes, So again, I can understand what you mean. So we will definitely be very sensitive to any needs of our neighbors. We will make sure that Indian Ocean is a peaceful place, and a peaceful Indian Ocean is good for India as well as it's good for Maldives, and a prosperous Maldives is good for India as well as it's good for Maldives.
We know one of the key things of conversation has been removal of Indian troops from Maldives. There's a deadline of 10th of May. So have all the troops come back to India, the Indian troops, or they're still there, and any more solutions we're looking at?
If you look at the military and defense cooperation, India and Maldives, we have a history, and it's not just about Indian military personnel. Actually, we do have, India is, I think, the only country after US that we have military exercises. We have had earlier this year also, we have had this military exercises, Dosti, Sri Lanka and Maldives, and as an observer, I think Bangladesh also participated, and we have more planned in the future. So we have the Indian military personnel who left and civilians has taken over. So it was a bit sensitive issue for the Maldivians. So Indian government has actually taken care of that, and we really appreciate that. And I think when the two leaders, President Dr. Mohammad Muiz and Prime Minister Modi met in Dubai earlier, it was agreed, and so we have actually moved beyond that now. So that part is over, but those military platforms are being manned by civilians.
Indian civilians.
Indian civilians, correct. And then Maldives, like I said, we are pro-Maldives, and we have no intention of replacing military of another country or anything, because we are pro-Maldives.
My last and final question, India's infrastructure projects in Maldives, what's the status like? We know the mega projects undertaken by India in Maldives. How do you see them as in terms of helping Maldives focus on making sure that there is increased connectivity in the country and also with India?
I think, like I said at the beginning, India has been one of the key development partners for Maldives from 1965, since we got independence. In fact, India was one of the first countries to recognize Maldives in 1965. So after that, we have had a lot of exchanges, and especially in our development, India has been an active partner. And the current projects that you have been referring to, it's ongoing, and we discussed the progress of the projects, and we are trying to bring in mechanisms where it can be fast-tracked so that the benefit of these projects come quicker to the people. And also it comes with debt as well. Some of those projects are debt and others are grants. So we are trying to make sure that the full benefit is quickly received to the people of Maldives.
Well, on that note, thank you so much, sir, for speaking to WION.
Thank you.